Hey there, Icarus here, and welcome to yet another edition of Doom Mod Madness. This time round, we're taking a look-see at a gameplay mod by the name of Doom Comic 96. Much as the name implies, this takes direct inspiration from the Doom comic released in 1996. It features a much more talkative incarnation of Doom Guy throughout the course of its run, and its influence has been felt certainly in more recent incarnations of Doom. The rip and tear motto is definitely present and accounted for in the ultra-violence of brutal Doom, and that phrase also can be heard uttered during the course of Doom Eternal. But as for the comic itself, it remained a affectionately regarded curio of Doom history that never really saw its stylistic flourishes adapted into Doom proper. That is, until now. But yes, those stylistic flourishes in particular are certainly one of the first things you'll notice about Doom Comic 96. For example, any noises that your weapons make or that enemies make are accompanied with that comic book visual FX appearing somewhere about them. You've also got a few changes to the HUD itself, what with a more Doom Comic accurate Doom Guy in the lower left-hand corner, who not only changes his armor color depending on whatever armor pickup you've acquired, but will occasionally utter a few one-liners from the comic itself.
You demons don't stand a chance against me!
These, believe it or not, can actually be context sensitive, and the settings for which can actually be tweaked deeper in the menu if you either want to turn them off or increase their frequency. There's a whole host of choices there. Further on the visual front, the weapon loadout, as well as your adversaries, are tweaked to be more Doom comic accurate. You got brown pinkies, you got slightly squished barons, not to mention slightly hornier imps. But crucially, the thing that really starts to set Doom Comic 96 apart is that it actually goes beyond the visual aesthetics, which on its own would still be a good time. But no, this actually goes deeper and includes tweaks to the actual gameplay itself. This includes how the weapons operate, which are now replete with secondary fires, and it also includes a whole host of changes to enemy behaviors. Across the board, enemies here are just much more aggressive than you'd typically see in the likes of vanilla. This includes increased attack speed, as well as enhanced attacks in general. You've got new and more dangerous varieties of former human, imps that, on top of the standard fireball attack, can now do a quick fire volley of several. You got pinkies that, on top of looking a little bit more terrifying with the new color scheme, feature a tackle attack that will absolutely knock you on your backside if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Macubi seem to have taken a leaf out of more modern interpretations of the enemy with a proximity attack should you get too close to them. Hell Knights, and if I'm not mistaken Barons, will absolutely slam you into a fine paste if you give them the chance. Revenants still have their homing rev rockets, but some bright spark decided they should be enhanced with railgun attacks now. Cacos are still kinda cacos. The color of their fireball has changed. Not too sure on the implications of that one. And from what I can tell, Pain Elementals still largely operate as you'd expect. Archviles are f***ing that I wish would die in a fire, so nothing much different there. But once you get beyond that into your big kahunas such as the Cyber Demon and the Spider Mastermind, yeah, these fellas have had some serious work done. So, let's start with the Cyber Demon, shall we? Its primary attack is a much quicker volley of explosive projectiles, and not to be outdone by Revenants with railguns, guess what? The Cyber Demon has one too. There seems to be somewhat of a short plasma gun projectile blast in there, but it's so quick that it's hard for me to kind of figure out exactly what it is. And it seems like the Cyber Demon has been working greatly on its agility. Not only does it move faster in general, it also seems to have a no-lie, honest-to-God anime dodge dash. As for the Spider Mastermind, well, this fella's had a fair bit of extra health poured into its tank, as well as a bit of a training arc over at the Toho School of Boss Battles, because one of these attacks is just a straight-up fan of projectiles that you're gonna have to dodge your way through. You've got the standard chain gun attack now replaced with a hot stream of plasma, and what looks to be a volley of homing projectiles fired out like mortars from above. Really cool looking stuff. Oh, and occasionally a railgun shot, because, you don't want to have the Spider Mastermind feel, inadequate next to the Cyber. This is how you get gotcha. This is how you get two bosses on a plinth trying to kill each other. But overall, particularly with the bosses, this is the kind of stuff I really like to see. Because when you think about it, the Spider Mastermind and the Cyber Demon encounters from OG Doom are really the prototypical FPS boss fights, the baseline, if you will. And it's just nice to see a little bit of love put into making them more formidable, more challenging in modern times. Oh, and if you're choosing to play this via Ultimate Doom, Doom 1, you will get custom end screens for each episode you complete. It's just a real nice touch. So what with the enemies out the way, how about them weapons here in Doom Comic 96? Well, if I had to sum it up in a sentence, it would be, damn, these weapons got some beef in them. And this is really apparent from the get-go. Like, the pistol, it sounds so much more powerful, and I think in practice actually is. I'm also a fan of like the idle pose holding that thing. It's just very cool to me. If anything, it reminds me of some of the idle poses for the weapons in Diamond Dragon, and that is certainly not a bad thing to be reminded of. But yeah, as previously mentioned, most weapons here come with some kind of secondary function. They may not be exclusive to the actual weapon itself on the lower end here, because with a pistol or a shotgun, you're going to be relegated to like a spur hand punch or a kick. But as you ascend further, you'll find there's some more interesting applications of that alt fire. The chain gun, for example, has a wonderfully surprising alt. I mean, sure, the primary is wonderful, sounds great, does the job, but the secondary lets you spin up the barrel and use it to inflict close-up melee damage. It's just wonderfully fun to me. Things are a little bit more standard on the likes of the Super Shotgun. The alt on that allows you to fire each individual barrel sequentially, but the primary fire, I mean, the SSG was already good, but here in Doom Comic 96, that primary double barrel blast absolutely friggin' obliterates. I'm not kidding, the point-blank blast on this thing can absolutely annihilate a Kaka demon. Heck, I'm pretty sure you only need like 2 up-close point-blanks on an Argivile to take the thing out. It's a monster, it really is. The rocket launcher, not only does it sound like a hefty piece of equipment when you pick it up, but the noise it makes when you fire it, I'm in love. It seems to have a much faster fire rate than the default. If you're wondering about that secondary, guess what? We got homing rockets. That's right, suck it, Revenants, you don't get to have all the fun. Speaking of fun, the plasma gun. Oh man, so at first you might be thinking, why is this spitting orange? That's not how the plasma usually looks. I mean, it still absolutely melts, if anything even more than it does before, but continue firing and you'll be privy to the overheat mechanic, which will see that plasma return to its familiar blue hue, and yeah, just woe betide anything that gets in the way of that stream of plasma. The secondary, railgun. Pleasing charge effect, you have to hold it for a little while before you can fire it off, but satisfying all the same. Now the BFG, this one has probably the most dramatic change out of all of the weapons here in Doom Comic 96. Not just in how it looks, but how it flat out operates. If you merely press the fire button once, it'll let out this little piddly stream of energy, fit only to take out lesser enemies, but if you hold it, that's where it starts ramping up power over 3 successive levels, each of which giving you bigger projectiles, more robust spread, and topping out at max with this overloaded shot that will shoot out 3 oversized projectiles that can ricochet all over the shop and deal continuous damage as they go. The secondary fire on this one is a little bit mystifying to me. It feels more traditionally BFG-ish in terms of it fires a singular orb, but it also has what I can only really describe as like an exhaust follow-up after the attack hits, and this depends entirely on whenever that projectile actually hits something. So if something's directly in front of you, you can fire that big orb and you'll get the follow-up damage from the exhaust almost immediately in front of you. But if it goes careening off into the distance, you gotta wait for that to hit the other side of wherever it's going before that effect will happen. It's weird. It's interesting. I don't quite know how to apply it yet. But primary-wise, much like the original BFG, can be an absolute room clearer, but you do have to have the patience to charge up the shot before you unleash. While I'm at it, best not forget the chainsaw, which has a lovely primary swing, which will kind of catch on enemies as it carves through them, naturally taking a bit longer depending on how robust the enemy is, and the secondary essentially makes it function how the traditional chainsaw usually operates. And then, of course, there's your fists, which you can actually perform rudimentary combos with. If you do a left-left-right, it'll follow up with a kick, which is quite entertaining, But even then, I wouldn't say that it's a viable way of getting through most levels, especially with those enhanced former humans. Berserk certainly helps though. I'm a little disappointed that you only get the speech bubble and not the voice line for rip and tear when you pick it up, but hey, there's always room for improvement. Oh, and you got grenades. I didn't really use them all that much, if I'm going to be honest. Not when you've got this buffet of satisfying weaponry just right here. So yes, pleasantly surprised by Doom Comic 96. I mean, I heard it was good, but it's another thing entirely to finally get your own hands on it and find yourself having a very enjoyable time. It's a surprisingly complete gameplay mod package, and one that is pleasingly customizable if you want to play it with things such as alternative custom monster packs. So you can indeed turn off enhanced monsters within this if you want to, filter in your own thing as an addition. And in general is just a nice high-octane and pleasingly challenging in a few areas way to experience Doom. In any case, I hope you've enjoyed this dive into Doom Comic 96. If you're interested in giving this a whirl for yourself, the link, as usual, can be found in the description below. And feel free to let me know any mods you'd like to see me check out in future editions of Doom Mod Madness. If you'd like to lend a hand supporting what I do here on the channel, why not consider becoming a channel member or even joining my Patreon, with perks including early access to new editions of Doom Mod Madness going forward. But until next time, this has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.